So why do we need a gaming community? And approaching this from the perspective of being a wargamer, a role-playing enthusiast, or a board gaming enthusiast, having a community and being a part of a community is a very, very important aspect of the hobby. And it is one of the easiest and most effective ways to take your level of gaming knowledge, whether that's competitive play, narrative play, and other aspects of the hobby, and really, really immerse yourself in it. Now, traditionally, going back a number of years, the community was a physical aspect. It was a place to go and play, whether it's a gaming club or perhaps a store or with your friends. Many, many years ago, with Warhammer 40,000, myself and 3 other players, every Friday night we would just get together and basement battle reports, just play 40K. And then during the week, it was working on new terrain and working on new miniatures to show up next week. But what's really interesting is how the use of the duality of technology and enthusiasm has now spilled over to YouTube, to forums, to virtual play, to tabletop simulators, both with board games, war games, and Dungeons and Dragons. I've been playing a ton of God Tier virtually. So this idea of community has become completely and totally unplugged. And it's a great way to continue to explore the hobby outside of the hobby. So what are some of the strengths of the gaming community? What are some of the strengths to look at? Many, many years ago, Wargamer Fritz was Fritz 40K, and before that, it was Way of Sam Han. And if that is a name that I have not heard in many, many years. And if you are familiar from my work of Way of Sam Han, I salute you. It has been quite a journey together. But this is an example of, at the time, I was playing Warhammer 40,000 intensely, and the Battle for Salvation Gaming Club, we were going to go down to the grand tournament hosted by Games Workshop in Baltimore. I was going to play my Space Marines. I love Space Marines. I still love Space Marines. And one of the members of the club who was organizing this trip together with all of us was like, Fritz, you can't play Space Marines because everybody else is playing Space Marines, and we're trying to win a club award and go down there with everyone playing a different army. And we need someone playing Eldar. We need someone playing Space Elves. So now I had just started playing Sam Han, jet bikes, Vipers, grav tanks, aspect warriors, lots of Farseers. And I really didn't have any idea what I was doing whatsoever. And I've got like 4, 5, 6 months to get my proficiency level up. So I started a blog. And the idea was I was going to post battle reports, win or lose, every week, checking out the moves, posting the pictures, posting my thoughts, and then I would send an email to a bunch of friends and be like, look, this is what I played. Can you guys just tear this thing apart and give me that feedback? Give me that criticism. Just absolutely everything. Take me apart. Email spread, word spreads. I've got people from other gaming clubs and other 40K communities checking it out. And that spilled over to YouTube to try and start sharing my Tactica, which from that perspective has increased my ability, whatever wargaming ability that is, tenfold, 100-fold over the years, because I've been able to get feedback and comments and ideas from all of you, and not just with Warhammer 40K or Battletech, but even with God Tier, even from the board gaming community, it opens your level of knowledge up way outside the scope of just you playing each week. And that's not to say that I wouldn't have come up with some of these ideas on my own, or if you've been following my stuff at any point and you say, hey, I would have thought of that eventually. True, probably, absolutely. But it has cut down the learning curve. If it takes me 20 games to figure it out, but you sound off with the comments something amazing, which is fantastic, now next game I dominate. So right away, what we see with the gaming community and plugging into that and facilitating and sharing that love, facilitating, sharing that knowledge and that experience is you are plugging into a matrix well beyond the virtual or the tabletop where you regularly play. So that's an important aspect, just if we're playing competitive. On the narrative side, there have been many, many examples where over the years with collaboration, we have been able to do more with a group than as a single player. Again, looking back to Warhammer 40,000, but then we're going to pull in a board gaming experience. We would organize massive, massive multiplayer, multi-opponent games, whether it's called Apocalypse back in the day or Mega Games. The idea is we would take examples from the Black Library books of Warhammer 40,000, the science fiction of it, and recreate that battle. At one point, we had all of the traitor legions and all of the loyalist legions, tongue twister there, sorry, I was playing Death Guard at the time, represented on the table. We had thousands and thousands of real-time Space Marines fighting it out. We had like 20 or 30 players on each side. Essentially, we organized with our club and other gaming clubs a weekend of gaming to come, play, bring your army, and have this massive game. And I've always been a big fan of the narrative and of pulling in and maximizing your resources. If I've got my army, you've got your army, you've got your army over there, let's do like a 3 or 4 player game. Let's put more miniatures on the table. I've seen this also in the board gaming community. I love playing Talisman. I have a regular game a couple of times a year, 4 or 5 players where we have a lot of fun. But also there are times where I can bring Talisman to the gaming club, set everything up, all expansions, all sideboards, big boxes, small boxes, and we get games of 15 to 20 players. We had a recent game, 28 players playing this game. I mean, it was absolute chaos, but absolute chaos in a really, really fun and really, really amazing way. So to be able to pull in and maximize your resources, that's another benefit for being part of a community. And this could easily be online. Another aspect is just to hang out. Now, a lot of gaming, of course, is gaming, but there's other stuff that goes into that outside of it. There have been many times where, in terms of a miniature wargaming format, I've gotten together with some friends on a Friday night, on a Saturday night, and we're just going to paint our armies together. We're just going to hang out, put on something on the TV, and paint and work on that. There have also been times where we've helped new players coming into Warhammer 40,000 miniature war games. They've got their army, they've got their pile of plastic, they're enthusiastic, but they're like, what do I do? How do I even start this? So it's like, hey, let's hang out Friday. Let's hang out this week and let's build some models together. I'll build your models. I'll show you some of the points to building it, and we'll look at some of the tools and the tech. And there have been times where someone has been enthusiastic to play, so we'll help you build your army. Or if you need a little bit of help painting it, you know, some of the early basic work, undercoating and primary colors, let's do that. Let's get this army tabletop. Let's get this army ready to go. So you can pull in many, many, many resources. On the Dungeons and Dragons side, not even pulling in players, there have been times where I have been working on world building and I've been working on creating campaigns. And when I run a D&D campaign, they last, you know, if we're playing about every week, I mean, we go on holiday, vacation, little breaks here and there, but if we're playing every week, I try to write my campaigns for real time, a year and a half to 2 years of playing. And I'm part of a DM's council. We've got 14 D&D dungeon masters. Very, very potent, very, very powerful, much better at being a DM than I am. We get together every now and then, either tabletop or more and more these days virtually, and kind of share some campaign ideas. Or I say, hey, check this out. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm playing. This is what I'm writing up. So being able to plug in and be part of a community, to hang out, to help build your hobby, to help push you in the hobby outside of physically playing those games, I think it's very, very important. And I would say wherever you are in this moment, look to build a community, look to plug into that community, physical or virtual, and see how by being a part of that community, you can grow and expand your tactica, your knowledge, your hobby, to get the most, to absolutely get the most out of it, whether it's wargaming, board gaming, or role playing games?